See, narcissistic abuse it's an injury. So let's put it in a way that people might be able to understand and sort of bring some sense as to why victims struggle for so long. If I went out for a night and met a stranger, 'cause that's what these people are, they're strangers, and I got into some sort of ruckus with them and I got badly injured, say I got limbs broken or I got some sort of head injury or whatever it may have been, and it knocked me out of life for a period of time. And it was clear and it was obvious. It was very easily distinguished. You know, you could see the injury, you could see what it was, and therefore people would have sympathy for you. They could see the pain that you were in, and they can somehow empathize with a broken limb or a bust up head. You know, and then you have to rehabilitate yourself and get back into life again. And you might be struggling to walk and get your limbs to work, and your legs might be sore, and your knees mightn't have the same strength. And again, you've got to rebuild all your muscles in your legs and the backs of your legs and your backside and your back and everything. It's a very, very arduous progress. And it takes lots and lots of incremental changes in your life to make that habitual changes to make those things happen. And everybody can see it and everybody can empathize. But a victim of narcissistic abuse has met a fucking stranger. They've met somebody who's toyed and played around with their psychology. They have manipulated their emotions. They have created a very strong emotional codependency in someone in an effort to evade themselves, somebody that they can live vicariously through to project all their own fucking traits and behaviors through. And, people don't see the damage that that does because, from someone who's suffered it, for someone who's been isolated now for 6 years in his house trying to work his way out of it. Somebody who understands narcissistic personality disorder inside fucking out. I can tell you how fucking difficult it is. It's nearly impossible to come back from narcissistic abuse if it's completely fragmented you. Because there is no understanding of human nature at that level if you have empathy in your heart. If you're able to feel love and sadness, you are not going to get to grasp with these people. You're not going to understand them. You're not going to be able to sit in their shoes and make sense of the things that they do and why they do it. And getting that across to the general public, your friends, your family, the people around you that sometimes let you down so badly because they just can't see it. They just cannot even begin to understand what narcissistic personality disorder is. And a lot of people tend to avoid the conversation because it reminds them of people they know or even themselves. So they avoid it. They avoid it like the plague. It's very, very difficult post abuse to have validation and acceptance within our general setup of friends and close circle. Very, very difficult. And it's a very painful part of healing. It really is an incredibly painful part of healing. And this is why being sure that you're safe within a small group or small circle of friends and in a community that you feel that you can express yourself. It's been the inability of you to be able to express your emotions and your feelings and your anger and your hurt and your withdrawal and all those things to this person who did all those things to you with no thought, with callousness, with lack of care, with no affection or attachment to you whatsoever, solely for their own needs, for their own grandiosity, for their own selfishness, for their own gain, for their own joy, for their own, you know, manipulative ways and desires and needs. Release yourself from the fact that this injury that people struggle to see, which is so unfucking fair, learn, learn that for you to come back from this, you have to be able to sit with it yourself. That doesn't mean you don't share. That doesn't mean you don't talk. But there is something about sitting in the uncomfortableness of being you that'll teach you resilience, that will take you on for the rest of your life. Promise. I can promise you that. I honestly can. The resilience that comes from the strength gained and built through rebuilding and discovering yourself and loving yourself are all the foundational bricks that you need to go on and have a happy life. Peace out.